Hey friends, welcome back to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart, and you're listening to episode number 18. Yep, I've been gone for a couple of weeks over the Christmas break, but we are back in business, baby. Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to tell you about my new course, Live with Audacity. Crazy name, right? This course is everything you need to go from A to Z in 60 days to get you over that fear. Fear of letting people down, fear of addressing your past, fear of what other people will think of you, fear of not being good enough, fear of your ego getting in the way of your calling, fear of not having a true purpose on earth. Psst, spoiler alert, you were made uniquely you to serve others from a joyful heart. And I'm going to help you figure out how to do exactly that. Over 60 days with me, we're going to heal your heart, break down those limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and get you over the big, huge mountain of fear and doubt. Look, here's the thing. I am a pretty audacious person, and I am a lot bolder than most people I know. But I still had fear I had to overcome, and I can help you overcome it too. Each day during the week, you'll get a video from me with a small assignment to complete. Don't worry, doesn't take that long. It'll take you about 10 minutes each day, so you don't need to feel overwhelmed that you have lots of coursework. It's very short every day. The real magic is going to happen when you integrate these daily lessons into your life. And I'm going to help you do that too. Each week, we get to meet up live for a group Zoom call so we can discuss questions, what you're not sure of, celebrate your success, and everything in between. So let's get you living with Audacity over the next 60 days. I promise it's going to change your life. The doors close forever on January 30th, but you can get in on the early bird special right now for half off. This deal is only until midnight, January 17th, so get in there right away. I can't wait to see you in there. Okay, so enough about that. Today, I've got Heather Ryder on the show, and she is known as the Energy Synergist. She works closely with women entrepreneurs with high anxiety to clear their negative energy and help them rid their bodies of trapped emotions. You're going to love this. Let's dive in. You're listening to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Stewart. Audacity is defined by Merriam-Webster as intrepid boldness or disregard for normal constraints. And that's exactly what we have here. The Live with Audacity podcast is aimed at giving you the courage to explore your someday dreams, do things your way, and start making things happen in your life right now. I'm a mama to 4 kiddos ranging from college student to kindergartner, wife to a high school football and track coach, and a multi-passionate entrepreneur. Together with my guests, we're going to teach you how to live with audacity and intentionality, discover and utilize your unique skills and talents, and step into who you are meant to be in order to make your someday dreams a reality. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming back to the Live with Audacity podcast. I'm so excited about today's episode because I have Miss Heather Ryder here. She is the Energy Synergist. Hey, welcome Heather.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm very excited about it. Okay, so we were just talking right before we got on the call that you focus on women entrepreneurs who tend to suffer with high anxiety and I guess the high pressure to be successful and to be on all the time and things like that. Is that correct? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I do. I do work with entrepreneurs and corporate women as well, but I am an anxiety specialist and yes, work with people who are really driven and ambitious and honestly tend to be perfectionists. And because of their drive and ambition and perfectionism, they tend to be pushing themselves really hard and have anxiety as a result.
Okay, yeah, I know tons of people like that.
Hmm. We all
Right? Yeah.
do. Yep.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so tell me how you got to this place and why it was so important to you, to get into this.
Yeah, so I've had just such an interesting life as so many people have had. So live here in Austin, Texas, and I used to work in technology, and I had some really demanding jobs. And I also have two kids. They're both in high school now, but I've been divorced since they were really young, about ages 2 and 5. So I've been, working and trying to manage home life as a divorced parent for a lot of years, and very high achieving and driven myself. And I didn't realize that I was really struggling with perfectionism and that I had what's called high functioning anxiety. So it's basically anxiety that's hidden from people. And in a lot of ways, it's really what drives and compels people to succeed. So on the outside, I looked really calm to people, but on the inside, I was a hot mess. I mean, my brain was constantly going. I had doubts and concerns about a lot of things. I would kind of replay events over and over in my mind, to see, like, how could I have done that better? How should I have responded better?
Mhm.
Doing things like checking an email many, many times before I would send it, even though it's like 2 or 3 sentences long, making sure the words are perfectly crafted. And so what wound up happening is that I wound up having a really severe autoimmune reaction that was triggered in part by all of that stress and anxiety. I basically had been pushing my body so hard for so long that it just kind of gave out. There were some other things that contributed to it, but the anxiety was a big part of that. And so I really wanted to take a holistic approach to healing my body. And for about a year, I changed my diet radically and was taking a lot of supplements and doing some other things. And that really helped and got me really far, but it only got me so far. And so after a year, I just was like, I need some more help. Like, I've done everything I can. And so I wound up going to see an energy healer. I didn't know anything about energy healing. I didn't know what it was, but somebody recommended it to me, and I'm really open minded. So it's like, hey, I'll try whatever. And so I
Right?
went to, yeah,
Especially
like,
I'm assuming, especially if you're in that place where you're like, "Oh my gosh, I just need to feel better. What in the world?" And you've tried everything else that you know to try. Yeah, I can imagine that you would go and be like, "I don't care what you do, just fix it."
yeah, that's a great way to say it. It was like, yeah, but what else am I supposed to do here? And so, thanks for interjecting. I realized I'm just talking a lot, but
Oh, no, you're
yeah.
good.
So I went to go see this woman, and I had an amazing experience. I mean, I had no context and no expectations, and it just blew my mind, and I left feeling freaking amazing. And so I was like, I'm doing that again. And so I had a few more sessions with her, and my body did heal. Like, I mean, the last little tipping point that I had, I tipped over, and my body was great. And so I decided to really pursue energy healing for myself, because I was like, how did you start doing this? And asked her a bunch of questions. And so I became a Reiki master. Reiki is an energy healing modality. There's lots of different types of energy healing, and that's one. And so I was just doing this thing basically on the side, of my job, just for myself. And then when people found out that I was a Reiki master, they would ask me for sessions. So I was giving sessions to my family and friends and my daughters and myself for years. And at my last corporate job, I was just really dissatisfied, and I didn't understand why, because I was making the most money I had ever made. I had, a senior level position, and I don't get it. Like, this is what I've been looking for and have wanted. And it just became apparent to me that I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that. And that's part of why I was get bored in jobs, is I just have the entrepreneurial spirit and like to do a lot of different things to keep myself engaged. And so I really decided that my path and my journey and who I had been, I guess I didn't mention that, is like through the energy healing, my anxiety wound up like basically melting away over the work that I did on myself.
So
And so
cool.
I saw yeah, I just saw this way out, like, oh my gosh, my journey and path can help other people who were like a previous version of me. And I
Yeah.
had learned so much in my years of being in corporate America that I felt pretty confident about actually doing the work as a business. So that is how I started my business and how I decided to work with the women that I work with.
That is so, so, so cool. I love it. What did you do before you did this? What was
Yeah,
your job?
so yeah, the job title means nothing to anyone if you don't work in technology, but I was a product manager. So I would work on very high traffic websites or software applications, and I worked with graphic designers and developers to develop the features and the functionality that everyday people use when they're using websites or software.
Okay, cool. That's really neat.
Yeah.
So you got your energy healed and you is okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. I have so many questions. I'm like, which one do I ask first? Okay. First of all, is this something that you can do a couple of times and you're done? Or is this something that is it's not a lifelong process, but like a thing that you do consistently that that helps you in different stages and different parts of your life? Is this like a
Yeah, that's a
forever
really
thing?
great question. It's not a forever thing, and that's really part of the appeal for a lot of my clients is that many of them have tried therapy, have tried pharmaceuticals or are on pharmaceuticals and haven't gotten the results that they're looking for. And they don't want to be on pharmaceuticals for the rest of their lives, right? Because that's pretty depressing idea to have to take this pill for the next 40 years or
Oh,
something. But
yes.
yeah, so no, so typically my clients, my new clients, when they come to see me are rating their anxiety on a daily scale from 1 to 10, they'll rate it at a 9. And then after usually about 6 sessions, that drops down to a 3 or a 4. So they're
Wow.
seeing really radical results in a short amount of time. Some people do come back to see me or they'll keep working with me because they're getting such amazing results. But yeah, this is more like I work with somebody 6 months to a year is usually about how long I work with people.
Okay, awesome. Tell me a little bit about the chakra system because I think that is so fascinating and I would just love to hear a little bit more
Oh,
about it.
okay. Excellent. Well, so chakras are energy hubs in the body. We have 7 main chakras. Your listeners can go and just look up chakras, and I recommend looking at the images in a Google result because it's easier to look at the image to see where they are located and the color of them. But they're basically spinning wheels of energy, and they're a cone shape. So with the funnel of the cone being closer into the body and the wider part being out of the body. And so we process information through our chakras. We basically pull it in through the wider environment, like outside your body. You pull information in and process it through your chakras and then send it back out into the wider environment. And so different chakras are responsible for different aspects. So, for example, your throat chakra, it's a sky blue color in the center of your throat. It's responsible for aspects of communication and self expression, and there's some creativity involved in that as well. So, if someone had an underactive or like kind of closed throat chakra, they would have difficulty speaking, expressing themselves, perhaps speaking up for themselves. And then if someone had an overactive throat chakra, so like they're using it too much, they might be somebody who just kind of has no discernment or tact in what they say. Like
Mm.
somebody just blurts things out or it's like word vomit. It just like maybe talks too much or is just like kind of
Uh,
unaware of other people's, reaction to what they're saying.
that's hilarious. I'm definitely the second person.
You're the second one? Okay.
I think I'm getting better and better as, time goes on and I learn more about myself, but yeah, totally I've been number 2 in the past for sure. That's hilarious. I'm cracking up because it reminds me so much of me and my husband, so that's funny. Because I didn't know that, of course I've been learning more and more about chakras and energy and things like that on this path that I'm on. And so I really never knew that they could be overactive, I guess you can say.
Hmm.
And I thought really it was just like it was either blocked or it was fine. I just for some reason never clicked to me that they could be, really, really amped up. So that's interesting that you said that. Super cool. So we were talking about the throat chakra. What are the other ones that exist?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just go in order from kind of the bottom up. So at your tailbone is your root chakra. And then the next one up, it's about 2 or 3 inches below your belly button, is your sacral chakra. Then in the center of your torso is your solar plexus chakra. And then up above that in your chest is your heart chakra. In the throat, which we already mentioned.
Mhm.
In the center of your forehead is your third eye chakra. And then at the very top of your head, your scalp is your crown chakra.
Very cool. Man, that's so neat. Okay. I just wanted you to kind of go over those in case anyone has never heard of them or has any idea about them or why they're important. So, will you explain to us a little bit about energy and why it's really important to make sure that our energy is in alignment and doing well?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And so some of your listeners might be like, wait a minute, she's an anxiety specialist, but she's doing this energy work. What does this have to do with each other?
Right.
So yeah, so this is how I explain this to my clients. We have an energy field that surrounds our body. So if you were to put your arms out side to side, it's basically a radius about that far around, and it has layers to it. Then you have your chakra system, which I just mentioned. We also have meridians, which are energy channels, and that's what acupuncturists are tapping into. So
Oh,
basically, it's
cool.
yeah, it's basically a complex energy system. And so by the time you feel something in your body, and that's either an emotional response like anxiety or a physical ailment, it's because you've already processed some information through your energy field and energy body. And then your body is just a receptor to let you know something's not right. So by the time I call that like way downstream, right? Because your body is not the problem. It's like the little like ding ding ding, like warning light, like, hey, something's not right.
Right.
And so why basically also when we grow up, everybody has really significant events that occur in their lives. And I do use the word trauma, but I use it loosely because what's traumatic for you may not be traumatic for me. But it's like we all have really significant events that occur. And when those happen when we're growing up, we basically store those occurrences in our energy field, and they become what I call like little computer programs. So they're operating in the background, and they're dictating your responses to people and situations, and they are kind of controlling the outcome. So no matter what somebody is trying or how they want to be, with that little computer program that's stuck in the background, it's overriding our desires and the way that we're trying to live. So energy healing is amazing because it is basically pulling those traumas and past occurrences out of your energy field. It's removing them. And so then that's how people can start to see differences that they were not able to see before and like get quote unquote unstuck. It's because they don't have that thing that's in their energy field kind of, dictating their lives anymore. So they start to see really amazing results.
That is stinking fascinating. Okay. Okay, man. My mind is like exploding over here. Okay. So, I know in all the things that I have learned recently in the last 2 years that everything is energy. Is
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when our energy is off, so I feel like this all relates to manifestation and mindset and And I love how the science and the woo, as they call it,
Mhm.
all kind of comes together. Um, I think a lot of people don't understand that everything, every single thing in the world is energy.
Mhm.
And that, if you look at anything under a microscope, you can see the energy between the atoms, correct? I,
Yeah, I mean, like we and everything are just a bunch of atoms bouncing around, right? I mean, just to make it simplistic, like everything literally is energy. And like you just mentioned, there's also spaces between things moving around that are energy. But yeah, it's all energy.
yeah, I just think that is so fascinating, right? When we can look at it that way, I think it really opens us up to just so many possibilities. Obviously, you can tell that your energy is off when when you have anxiety and things like that. But is there any way for us to tell before that we're kind of off, or things aren't,
Yeah,
kind of
while you were
aligned?
talking, I think there's a great way that I could kind of help your listeners kind of understand some things that you were just saying and like further expand on some of those concepts. So, emotions have an energetic frequency to them. So there's polar opposites. You can either be really contracted or like have low level emotions. Some examples of that are shame, guilt, fear, anger. And then at the way other end of the spectrum, really high vibration, expansive emotions are love, joy, and gratitude. And so you can actually look this up on a chart because emotions can be measured by their Hertz frequency. So that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying there's like a frequency scale of these. And so
So cool,
when
by the
we're,
way.
yeah, it is,
So
isn't
neat.
it amazing? And so that's how you know that your quote unquote, your energy is off, as you just said. Like, are you in a place of resentment? Are you feeling anger, fear, frustration, anxiety? If so, you're really closed off, right? It's like dense and heavy and it does not feel good. And so the best thing to do in that situation is, can you move your emotion up just maybe one thing above where you are now? Because to go from like feeling really terrible to be like, hey, you should immediately feel joy. Well, come on.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if, like you are where you are. And so that's just really unrealistic to expect to somebody be like, oh well, yeah, I'm just gonna switch off this bad feeling. But if you
Exactly.
can just, how can you get just one step above where you are now? It's like that's a way for people to be like, okay, I know I'm not feeling good. What's one thing I can do that will make me feel a little bit better? And then like kind of climb the emotional ladder that way and do that as often as you can.
Okay, what are some things we can do to climb the emotional ladder? Like
Well, yeah. So this is something I really recommend with my clients because, first of all, hear a lot of people say, "Well, you should meditate," which is true, but meditation is really, really hard. It is. It's. That's all I can say is it's really hard to sit there and do nothing,
it's so
and
hard.
people get really frustrated because their minds won't shut off, and it's. And I practice meditation, but even though I've been doing it for years, I mean, some days I sit there and I don't stop thinking the entire time, which is
Yeah.
okay. But what I recommend people do is to feel your feet on the floor. And so you could be sitting or standing. And why I recommend this is the second that you feel your feet on the floor, you get really present. Like you get out of your head and you feel yourself in your body. And it may only be for a split second, right? But you stop thinking, like you shut the hamster wheel off for even that millisecond. And so I just recommend that people do this really often because it becomes a habit. And then you can catch yourself like, oh my gosh, I'm spiraling out of control right now. Right. And if you can bring yourself into the present moment and can bring yourself just back into your body, then it basically shifts your perspective because you're becoming aware of the fact that you were like in the hamster wheel in your head. And so
Mhm.
just bring yourself back, bring yourself back. And the more you do that, it actually becomes easier to shift your emotion because you do start to realize like, oh my gosh, I'm really upset right now, because then you can identify and name how you're feeling. So this is the process of like, come into the present moment And then you can start to name your emotions. And then once you can start to name your emotions, you can say, well, I'm feeling, fill in the blank right now, and I want to feel better than that.
Yeah, and I think too, when we become more aware that we are just kind of spinning around out there, like our minds are just like kind of going crazy. And like you said, bring yourself back, like, okay, here I am. I have control of my own thoughts. What am I thinking? Why am I feeling like this? And making a conscious effort to realign your thoughts or think different thoughts, then it's super helpful. And when you start to learn how to control your thoughts, man, the possibilities are totally endless. Um, and for me, one of the things that really helps me get back to back to an energy or a high vibe is, music that I love that makes me really happy. And also moving my body, like getting out there and either just being out in the sunshine and taking a walk, or just like getting up and 30-second dance party or whatever can totally change your vibe, and it feels so much better. um
Yeah,
I
those are great recommendations. Yeah, and I'm glad you realized, like, oh, what works for me?
Yeah.
Dancing around. Yeah.
Well, I just feel like, there are so many times where we just sit here and we're like, oh, I'm just so tired today, or I'm just feeling blah or weird. But if we, like you said, get um, intentional and get not grounded, that's not the right word, get,
No, I
uh,
think that's a great word. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
get grounded and feel like, okay, let me get more clear about where I am and what I'm thinking and things like that. Then you can say, okay, I need to do something to change this mood, change this vibe. I'm like shaking myself over here, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
um, so um, so what is one thing that you wish you would have done sooner, either in your business or with your anxiety and energy?
Oh my gosh, one thing I wish I would have done sooner. I mean, that's a difficult question because I do metaphysical work. I mean, I know that everything that happened the way that it was supposed to. But if I can look back and recommend for somebody else, like what would have make it easier for them, is to realize how much perfectionism really plays out in our society, especially with women. I really feel like we are expected to, look amazing all the time and eat amazing all the time. And if
All
we
the
have
time.
kids, yeah, yeah. And if we have kids, we're supposed to be raising them a specific way. And then if we have a job, it's like we're trying to do so many things, like a ridiculous amount of things, and trying to do them all perfectly.
Mhm.
And it's just like unattainable. And so I just want everyone to take things off the to-do list, give themselves permission to just do it the best that they can and not compare themselves to other people, because that is just, oh God, it'll make you so unhappy, right?
Right, and here's the thing too, it's like, you can try your hardest to be the air quote perfect person in for your family, for your job, for, your friends, for your family, for everyone. And at the end of the day, someone's still going to be irritated that you didn't do something that they thought you should do. So take care of yourself, because you're the only person that's going to take care of yourself. And you really got to make sure that you put that person first. And like you said, don't worry about what other people are doing or what they think. Of course, you want to be there for your family and all of that. And you aren't going to abandon them, right, to take care of yourself, but you take better care of them when you take better care of you. And I think, we try so hard to do all the things perfectly so that other people don't talk about us. But the truth of the matter is, people are going to talk no matter what you do. So you might as well just do what's right for you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, you can't control what other people think, and whatever your specific action is, you could have 50% of the people like think that was the best choice, and then 50% of the people think it's the worst choice. And so, yeah, you just have to do what's best for you. And you're right. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of other people because you have nothing left to give.
I actually had a friend, we did a call one time and she was telling me that I needed to get out of my head about, comparisonitis and things like that. And she said, one time I watched on YouTube Reba's fancy video. And of course, if you know who Reba is and you love Fancy, you love that song and it's like the greatest song of all time. But she said I was looking at it and she was like, it had like, however many million thumbs up and it had like 12,000 thumbs down. And if you can't be Reba singing Fancy and have only thumbs up, then neither can I. So we just got to do our thing and do it. And there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like what you're doing. You can be the juiciest peach in the world. And there's still going to be somebody who doesn't like peaches. So you just got to do you.
I love that. Yeah, be a juicy peach.
Exactly. Be your own juicy peach. Tell me about a time you felt like you failed and what you learned from it.
Oh gosh, all these
I know we fail
things
every
started like
single day,
shifting
right?
through my mind. A time when I thought that I failed and I learned something from it. Well, this is an interesting story. And so to make it short is I have a office that I rent, like an actual commercial office. So I see my clients there, and I have other rooms that I rent out to other practitioners. I have some psychotherapists in the office as well.
Super cool.
And so the short story is I rented this space really before I was ready. And I thought that I would have a much easier time filling the empty rooms. And it was a really interesting process to find commercial real estate to rent it. It's nothing like other things. I mean, it's its own very special, unique kind of process. And I had to have some modifications made to the office, which the building owners paid for, but I had to manage, like finding the construction people and all of that sort of thing. And so there was just a huge amount of learning that went into the renting, the renovations, the trying to find tenants. And it took me a lot longer to find them than I thought. So I was paying the rent all by myself for empty rooms. And so, that's all I can say is that was such a unique experience. That's unlike, buying a home or leasing a home. I mean, it's radically different. And so if any of your listeners are considering renting commercial space, I'd be happy to talk to them about my experience, because there's a lot of things that I wish I had known more before I went into that experience.
Oh man, that sounds hard, but it worked out in the end, right?
Yes, it did.
Awesome. Okay, what's been your biggest win in your business?
Oh gosh, I've had a lot of really good fortune, and I've been featured in some local Austin media. People just reached out to me. I've been on Culture Map Austin, and I recently was live on the Dudley and Bob FM radio morning show, which is really funny. It's been on the air for, I think, over 20 years. And so I'm really grateful for those opportunities, because they've helped me spread the message, right, to other people that there is hope for them. But it's also been great for my business, because it's, given me access to eyeballs and ears that I never would have had access to otherwise.
Very cool. That's awesome. Okay, so what are you working on now, or where is your business headed? What do you want to do next?
That's a really great question. So, I work with primarily individuals, but I really am hoping to start some sort of group program, most likely in 2020. And I really would like to do a lot more of the work virtually, as like a springboard to what I just said, where I have a physical office. I do have clients that I work with in other cities and states that I meet with virtually over Zoom, but I'd like
Cool.
to really have, like a virtual group program next.
Oh, that would be so neat. Oh, that's so
Mm-hmm.
cool. Well, let me know when you get that up and running because I'm
Oh, well, thank
interested.
you. Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool. Tell me about, we're going to jump into rapid fire now. So tell me about a book, article, person, or talk that changed your life.
Oh gosh, people have probably said this before, but Brene Brown's TED Talk about vulnerability.
Girl,
Uh,
yes. And
yeah,
no one has said
yeah.
that yet, actually.
Oh,
So,
oh my gosh,
oh,
when
it's
I
so
saw
good.
that, yeah, I mean, I was crying through probably almost all of it, and it came, it came before all of the things that I just talked to you about, like my journey into my business. So, like the time that I heard it in my life, it really, really struck a chord with me.
That's so cool. Oh, yes, I love that. Man, I cried when I watched that Netflix special. It was basically her talking about bravery and vulnerability and stuff too. Oh, it was so good. So good. Tell me about your favorite Friday night at home.
Oh, I think that being a business owner has really shifted like days of the week, right? Like, what is Friday
Totally.
night? But I mean, I am a morning person, not a night owl. And so on a Friday night, I'm actually generally at home. And one thing I love to do is I like to just stretch my legs. And so I sit on the floor with my iPad and usually watching something on Netflix while I stretch. That
Oh,
sounds so goofy.
awesome.
Yeah.
What's the thing that you're watching right now on Netflix?
Yeah, well, I'm actually watching it on Hulu. I'm pretty late to the game. I am watching, just because you asked that question, it is completely slipping out of my mind. The show with the women who have to have babies. Oh my God,
Oh,
it's so
Handmaid's
pieces.
Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. I'm so sorry. Yes, Handmaid's Tale.
Okay,
I
I have to tell you, I watched the first 3, maybe. I don't even think I made it through the 3rd episode. The first 3 episodes of that, and I was just like, "This is too real." Like, it feels like it's too possible. I can't watch this. It's totally jacking with me, and it's freaking me out, and so I've
stop.
never been able to finish watching it. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's definitely intense, and for some reason, I knew the general premise, but I thought the show was set at a different time period. I didn't realize that it was in modern day.
Isn't
And
that
so,
wild?
yeah, I just started watching it, was like, "Oh my gosh, this is not at all what I thought it was." And so I've been watching, yeah, all of it now for over a month. I'm on the 3rd season.
It's completely terrifying, and I swear if that ever happens, I'm gonna have to find all my friends that actually watch it and say, "How do we get out of this?" Because I have
How do
no
we
idea.
survive? Yeah.
Tell me, what was your dream job as a kid?
Oh my gosh, this is so silly, but I remember when I was probably 4 or 5, we were at the grocery store, and I really wanted to be the cashier, the grocery
I
store
think that
cashier.
is so great. Like, who doesn't wanna press all the buttons and play with the
Yeah, and,
money?
like, make the beep beep noises, and I'll, like, do the stuff on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. That's so funny and cute. Oh,
yeah,
I mean, like, when you're a kid, that looks so fun. Yeah, and you look,
yes.
like, so authoritative, right? When you're scanning all of the things and
Uh-huh, yeah.
I love that. That's so funny. Um, tell me about the next vacation that you're planning.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, next week is Thanksgiving, and my daughters and I are going to San Diego for 4 days.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm
that's
really
so
excited.
fun.
Hmm.
What are y'all gonna do there? Anything special? Are you going for a certain reason or
Yeah, we're just going just to see San Diego, and it just happens that my former sister-in-law, so my girls' aunts on their dad's side, lives there, so she invited us over on Thanksgiving Day. But I mean, the other days we are literally just seeing the sights.
so fun? That's so cool. You guys are
Hmm.
gonna have the best time.
Yeah.
Um, what is your best advice to help my listeners live with audacity?
Yeah, I would just tell them to really trust their uniqueness and know that their journey and life path gave them all the tools and the resources that they need to be successful.
Fantastic. Yes, I love that so much. And it's exactly what I preach here. So I'm so glad you said that. uh,
Yay.
where can people find you to get more information on your services or your upcoming courses?
Yeah, my website is definitely the best place. So it's theenergysynergist.com.
Awesome. And I'll put that in the show links in case anyone doesn't know how to spell synergist.
Yes, thank you. It is a made up word.
I love it so much. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I love the talk about energy and healing and all of that stuff. So this meant so much to me to have you here, and thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Hey y'all, I had to jump in here real quick because I need a favor. If you are loving the Live with Audacity podcast, I need you to do me a big solid favor and share it with your friends, share it on social media, and go to the Apple iTunes link and click subscribe, rate it, review it. I need to know your feedback, and I want to keep putting this out for you, so I really need your help to get the message out. Thank you so much for your loyalty and your super kind and sweet words. They mean so terribly much to me.